Good? Okay.
You're good.
Thank you. Okay, it's football day, so we're just going to have to, we're all in this together because they're watching a football game and I'm not waiting. So this is pretty simple. I'm making meatballs today, and I just thought I can show you what I put in if you're new to low carb or trying to figure out if you're going gluten-free and grain-free, what you can put in your mixture, whether it's meatloaf. You can use turkey meatloaf, any kind of ground beef you want, or turkey or whatever. And then I'll just show you what I kind of use for a filler. And when we're done, I'll stop it and then I'll show you how it turns out later. So in here, and you can make a double batch because they freeze really good, but I have 2 pounds of grass-fed beef. And I'm really picky about our grass-fed beef because a lot of times it'll say grass-fed and it's really not till it's processed. They'll grain finish it for 90 days, so you have to be careful with that. But this is grass-fed, and there's a lot of fat in there, and that's what we want. And I add some onion in there, and this is probably about a ½ cup of diced onion, and I put it in there with 2 tablespoons of butter. And again, if you're new to this, I use the salted Kerrygold butter. That's a good butter. It's a good fat. And I kind of, I just soften them up a bit, so that way, because they don't cook very long in the oven, they're meatballs, so they won't take as long. So this way it just kind of helps soften them up. So that's about a ½ cup with 2 tablespoons of the butter. But I like the salted butter, but you can use any fat you want. Duck fat would be really, really good here too. So now let's talk filler. I have pork rinds. Pork rinds are really good. This is the brand I use because they're organic, and they make a good binder. And I don't use a lot because my husband doesn't like it, but I'm stubborn and I'm putting it in anyway. But as I see it, he won't know if a little bit's in there, but if I go overboard, he'll know. So I have just about a tablespoon of pork rinds that come like this. Put them in a spice grinder, and you'll get this. So that's 1 tablespoon of pork rinds. I don't think he'll catch on to that one. And then I do, in addition to the onion, I used to do more onion, but because they are kind of high in carbs, I do use dehydrated minced onion, and I buy Frontier Organic, so just in case these are things that you're trying to figure out, I buy it online, Amazon. Both of them you can get online at Amazon. And I'm going to use, again, this is all to preference, so this is just what I put in. You go and you can do whatever. If you guys don't like onion, don't put onion in, but I would probably put in 2 spoonfuls of onion, dehydrated onion. And that's 2 pounds of meat, so it's actually not too bad. This will be a meal for tonight and leftovers for a couple of days, or breakfast if you want. Nut flour is really good. I use almond flour for this one because it's a finer, the grain is, or the meal is finer than if you get macadamia nut flour, walnut flour. It's a little bit coarser. So again, I'm just going to eyeball it, and then I can adjust it later. But this is about, I would say, a ½ cup, and then another little spoonful, so maybe 3/4 cup of almond flour in there. I also use as a binder Parmesan cheese, and this is organic Parmesan cheese. Again, I get the grated kind. And I would probably put about 1/3 cup to a ½ cup, and there's not much left, so I'm just going to put the rest of it in there. That's not a big deal. As far as back in the day when I used to eat gluten and processed foods and sugars, I would put ketchup in here. I think a lot of people do. But what I found, get some organic tomato paste. It's sweet. It provides just that little tomato kick that you need, but it doesn't have a high fructose corn syrup and all the other stuff. I'm also going to put in some fresh chopped parsley. If I had spinach, I might use some spinach just squeezed really, really dry and chop it up, throw that in there. Or I don't have any right now, but if you take some zucchini and just a little bit, maybe about 1/3 cup on the smallest little shredder and squeeze it out, that works really good too. So we're going to do that, and then quickly I'm just going to add 2 eggs. If I had 1 pound of meat, I would just probably add 1 egg, but because I have 2, I'm going to go ahead and get the 2 eggs in here.
These are organic eggs.
They're organic eggs. Thank you, Mom. And I am going to mix them up a little bit before I put them in the bowl because it just, you don't want to overwork the meat. You have to incorporate everything, but it helps with the egg. So we're going to go ahead I'm gonna put the egg in there. And then at this point, I use a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, just a couple of dashes, nothing too crazy. I would say it's probably about a half a teaspoon at best. A little does go a long way with that. I have celery salt, so I put that in there. And don't be afraid to go a little more than you think, because meat can be bland. So we want to make sure we get a lot of flavor in there. Again, more onion and onion powder. I'm going to put some ground mustard, probably about a teaspoon. So that's in there. The Aleppo pepper. I like that. That gives it a little bit of heat. Not too worried about that. A little bit of garlic powder. My husband doesn't really like garlic, but we have to put it in there. So actually he's gone, so I put a little more in quickly. I would say a teaspoon, half teaspoon if he's listening. Some oregano and black pepper, and then we definitely have to get some salt in there. And then once we get all this in here, I started adding organic cream cheese, about a third of a cup. I find that actually adds a lot of, it makes it more rich, so it gives a nice flavor to it. So we're going to go ahead and mix these up. I'm going to make them into meatballs. I'm going to put them in a preheated oven, 400 degrees, for about 20-25 minutes, and then I'll show you what they look like. Thanks. So I can edit it. Is it okay? Mom? Is it okay?
I'm trying to